Alright, so I have this example where I have a parallelogram A, B, C, and D, and I know the coordinates of points A, B, and D, but I don't know the coordinates of point C. So again, I'm just going to draw my parallelogram on the plane of my paper, and I'm not going to worry about accurately putting A, B, C, and D in 3 dimensions. Alright, because this is a parallelogram, I know that this side, AB, and this side, DC, are parallel, and they're also equal. That means vector AB is equal to vector DC. And I'm going to use that to find the coordinates of point B. So vector AB is going to be equal to the x coordinate of B minus x coordinate of A, 2 minus -1, and so on for the y's, 0 minus 2, and for the z's, -1 minus 1. So vector AB in component form is going to be 3, -2, -2. Vector DC I can write in component form by taking P and subtracting the x coordinate of D, which is 3, so P minus 3. Then the y component would be Q minus 1. The z would be R minus 4. Alright, so I know that these two vectors are equal to each other, and that can only be true if the x component of this equals the x component of that, the y component of this equals the y component of that, and the z component of this equals the z component of that. So I can use those 3 little equations to find my 3 coordinates. So for the x components, I know that 3 equals P minus 3. So I know that P is equal to 6. For the y component, I know that -2 is equal to Q minus 1. So Q equals -1. And then for my z component, I know -2 is equal to R minus 4. So R equals 2. So that tells me that my coordinates of point C are 6, -1, and 2. Alright, so now that I have my coordinates, I'm going to check my work by using the midpoints of the diagonals. I know that for a parallelogram, the diagonals have the same midpoint. So I know that this diagonal, AC, and this diagonal, DB, intersect at each other's midpoint. So I'm going to find the midpoint of AC and show that it's the same point as the midpoint of DB. Okay, so the midpoint of AC, I'm going to use the midpoint formula. So I'm going to take the average of the x coordinates of points A and C, so 6 plus -1 divided by 2. Same for the y's, -1 plus 2 divided by 2. And the z's, 2 plus 1 divided by 2. And I'm going to get 5/2, 1/2, and 3/2 as a coordinate for my midpoint. Now I'm going to find the midpoint of the other diagonal, say DB, and I want to show that it's the same as this. Okay, so DB, so B and D, so their x coordinates are 2 and 3, so 2 plus 3 over 2. Their y coordinates are 0 and 1, so I have 0 plus 1 over 2, and their z coordinates are -1 and 4, which gives me 5/2, 1/2, and 3/2, which is the same as this midpoint.